Later in this video, I eat a hot dog. And I also forget to turn on my microphone while filming. And then I drive the S6 Avant E-Tron with only one hand. Today, we are putting the new Audi S6 Avant E-Tron through one of the hardest tests we do here on the channel. The main goal of this test is to cover the 610-kilometer route with the shortest charging stop possible. The record is currently held by the facelifted Porsche Taycan 4S with an insane charging time of only 5 minutes. How close can the S6 get to this time? This test is also designed to expose weaknesses and has cut out quite a few new EVs the past year, like the Polestar 4 and the BYD Tang flagship, to name a few. How good will the new kid from Ingolstadt fare in this fierce test? You join me about an hour after I left the starting line in Schleppenden right outside of Oslo. What a beautiful day to be out doing the long trip test. I haven't seen one cloud on this blue sky since I left Oslo about an hour ago. And the last hour has been so quiet and comfortable and such a pleasure in this car. Really nice seating position. You sit low, you have the steering wheel in front of you, not angled down like you do in an SUV. You sit close to the floor. Visibility is great, and these seats are just really, really nice. I have to say, I really enjoy driving this car compared to all of their crossovers and SUVs lately. Having a low slung wagon like this is really nice and comfortable. And also, the car is relatively quiet, though. At 120 kilometers an hour, which we are cruising at now, when the asphalt is a little bit worn, there's this resonance from these tires that you don't get at 110 or at 100 kilometers an hour or lower. It's specifically at 120 and higher, so I don't know if it's this wheel and tire combo, because I have these exact tires on my private vehicle, my Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, and I don't have the same resonance, so that is a bit weird. So we're now cruising towards Kristiansand, and what's really interesting is that when we set off, the navigation said we would arrive at our halfway point with 24% stated charge, and I'm like, immediately, that is completely wrong. That is way off. We're probably going to arrive with, well, I'm guessing now, somewhere in between 36 and 37% stated charge, because when I did this test a week ago in the Polestar 4, that is less efficient, we arrived with 32% stated charge. So there's no way this car under similar conditions is going to ride with less percent than that car with a bigger battery. Doesn't make any sense. So after an hour, the car's now saying we're going to ride with 32% stated charge. So that is a very nice correction. But though it being really nice weather and sunny outside, it's actually been pretty cold, like for the past hour between 6 and 8 degrees Celsius, but now the temperature just crept up to 10 degrees. Because of the topography here in Norway, we have, valleys, we have fjords, we have mountains, and, just going through one tunnel can really change the temperatures a lot. Like, you just jump from 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. But hopefully, throughout the day, the temperatures are going to rise. So I'm really excited about this car. I mean, from the title, this car may have set a new record. I'm not sure, but I'm really confident in this car because I know it's at least going to be as efficient as the Q6 e-tron, and it has as fast charging, but I think this car may just be even a bit more efficient. But that really depends on the temperatures we have today, because when we tested the Q6 e-tron, I think it was upwards towards 20 degrees Celsius. We're not going to have those temperatures today, but I think we're still going to have pleasant temperatures and also calm winds and dry conditions. So today we have all the prerequisites of setting a new record, but will we be able to do it in the S6 Avant, the least efficient and the most sporty version? As we moved closer and closer to Kristiansand in the south of Norway, the S6 Avant e-tron really showed why German cars are regarded as some of the best driving vehicles in the world. Road comfort, seat comfort, and refinement just starts to describe how good this new Audi is to drive. And that predicted battery percentage at arrival just crept up and up. Things were looking really good for this Autobahn cruiser. We're about 5 minutes away from our turnaround point in downtown Kristiansand, but before I get there, I just want to touch quickly upon the advanced driver assistance systems in this car, the ADAS, Adaptive Cruise, auto steer functionality, because I've been driving a lot of cars the past month. BYD Sea Lion, BYD Seal, Tesla Model Y, the new model, the Juniper, and also the Polestar 4, all with issues regarding ADAS. But I'm happy to report that this car, it's so smooth, it's so confidence inspiring, it just works. There's no delays, it centers the lane confidently, no phantom braking. It's just a very nice system to use. Here, changing lanes, and then turning off the blinker, it will re-engage, and I can, let go of the steering wheel confidently. You don't have to do that, but the car steers confidently in the lane. So it's just really nice to finally drive a car that, from a driving perspective, when it comes to the suspension, when it comes to the tuning of the steering, the throttle, the brakes, is very refined, but also where the electronics, the advanced driver assistance systems, is also refined. Welcome to downtown Kristiansand, where we have been so many times before. So a few things that are interesting. As I said at the beginning, the car estimated we would arrive here with 24% stated charge. I think I guesstimated like 36 or 37. The car now says we're going to ride with 39%, but where I'm navigated to is just right 50 meters up the road there, and we're actually at 40% state of charge. That is very, very impressive. I can't remember us arriving here in a car with this much charge. Maybe the Tesla Model 3 Highland. But yeah, this charge is faster than that. So this is going to be an interesting test. I think we're going to set a new record today. I'm pretty confident in that. So halfway, after 302 kilometers, our average consumption is 19.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So when I tested the Q6 E-Tron Quattro last September on this route in this test, that car had smaller wheels. It's also the less, performance oriented version, but it has a higher drag coefficient. It's an SUV. This should be more efficient. That had an average consumption over the whole trip of 19.1. This has 19.2 now, but that day it was warmer, between like 13 and 19 degrees Celsius. Now it's 10 degrees. We've seen temperatures of 11, maybe 12 today, but not for longer periods of time. So where are we going to stop and charge? So what we've normally done in the past few records is stop at the Ionity chargers in Brokelandsøya, about 110 kilometers from here. But the car says we have 169 kilometers of range left, and I put into the navigation system here, I put the Circle K chargers in Bambla, which are 147 kilometers away. The car says we're going to arrive there with 4% state to charge. There aren't too many 300 kilowatt chargers, but I just checked the availability. 16 out of 16 available. So yeah, I think we're going to go there. I think we're going to chance it and possibly set a new record today. When I started doing these tests back in late 2020, most of the EVs had to do multiple charging stops to cover this 610 kilometer route, and charging times varied from around an hour to 2 hours. In just 4 years, EVs have come very far. The average charging time of the last 6 new cars I tested last year is now under 10 minutes. This means that in reality, charging time isn't actually adding any real time to these journeys, because when I do these charging stops, I actually don't have time to do anything other else than to film the actual charging session. Any toilet, drink, or eating breaks I actually have to do other times off camera. So this is the reality, guys, is that if you just drove this trip non-stop, it would take you like 6.5 hours depending on traffic. I never spend that much time in a car. I've already probably been to the toilet twice, stopped to stretch my legs, and also to, buy something to drink, and now I'm hungry again. I've also eaten earlier today, but that was before I started. So it looks like we're gonna make it to Circle K in Bamble without a problem. The car actually now shows 7% stated charge while arriving there. But there is a small chance that we can have even better efficiency, because I think from here and down to Kristiansand we actually had a headwind. So on our way back now we'll have a tailwind. So hopefully, I'm just hoping that we can have a little bit lower consumption, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to eke out enough range to get to Ionity in Ringdalskog. And if we do that, that's a new record. I think it's a new record anyway. And again, I may sound like, a broken record because you guys may know the title, but maybe we're gonna be able to get there and just set an insane time today. So yeah, I'm just gonna eat my hot dog and then we're on our way. Seriously guys, I haven't seen a single cloud on the sky all day. This is pretty insane. I can't remember the last time we had such nice weather. So we've actually passed the Circle K chargers in Bambla, and we've now set our route to the recharge chargers here in Esso in Rugtvedt. But I really want to go to Ionity in Ringdalskog because we've gone there once before in a Mercedes EQE rear wheel drive with small wheels and a little bit, milder conditions. But we have 23 kilometers of range according to the car, and if we put that into our Google Maps here, let's see, 41 kilometers. Yeah, that's about minus 20, so we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it at all. And I think this car charges so fast now that it really isn't worth the risk pushing it and going to 0% and beyond. Like, because back in the day, when a car charged, I don't know, at 100 kilowatts or 150 or even 200, but this thing charges from 10 to 80 in 21 minutes. And this is insane. So I put our end goal into the charger. Okay, now it says 7 minutes of charge time. Before that, it said 5 minutes. Which is just totally insane that the car is estimating with a safety buffer. So yeah, we're going to charge the 35% stated charge, but we're also going to time the charging now so we can correct for as if we would arrive with 0%. There are 3 recharge charging locations in the vicinity of like a few hundred meters here in this area. We have this Esso station, we have a Shell station across the road, and then down the road we have a McDonald's. So I'm just a little bit confused because the app I was using to show availability showed there should be 4 400 kilowatt chargers available, but obviously there weren't. So a little change in plans. I think I navigated to the chargers over here when I checked the app because there were like all vacant chargers, and here now, yeah, all were full. Because we want to go to a 400 kilowatt one. Yeah, these are the ones on the other side of the road. There are so many different recharge chargers in this location, even by the McDonald's over here. We want to connect so we can get that, optimal charge speed. So what did they do with the entrance here? So we got to go around and over there. Okay, looks like these are the ones that are vacant, so we're gonna go over here and we're gonna connect. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure, guys. Maybe these just can deliver 400, but they're not labeled as this. But okay, before we hop out now, we are here with, let's see, 7% stated charge and average consumption of 18.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That is insane. We've covered 459.3 kilometers, guys, before stopping. Okay guys, we're now back at the first charging location. So there was a problem with the Elton charging app, which I use, to check availability. This was the correct location, but according to the app, 4 out of these chargers here were, or all of them actually, 6 out of 6 were actually vacant. But yeah, when it came here, 3 out of these 4 that can deliver up to 400 kilowatts were actually occupied. So I drove over to the other side, and then I realized that those deliver only a peak of 200, so I drove back here. And I actually filmed an intro, but I was having problems with my microphone now. They've been acting up the past few days, so maybe I need some new microphones now. There's always something breaking when you're doing videos. But okay, we connected here with 7% stated charge, and we're now at 15% at 255 kilowatts. So still not at that 270 peak. I've seen this platform peaking at 270 before in both the Q6 and the SQ6 and the Porsche Macan. But 255, 256, I mean, it's close enough. We're still gonna have a very rapid charge time here. As soon as we hit 35% stated charge, I disconnected and set off towards Oslo. But I immediately got a little nervous since the car showed we'd arrived back at our start point with 0% battery. Since the car had been underestimating the range at arrival throughout the whole day, my nerves were calmed down a little once the predicted stated charge at arrival crept up to 1%. Surely enough, we made it in time before the sun set and exited the motorway behind an A6 Avant E-Tron. welcome back to where we started this long trip test earlier today. We're now back here at Esso in Släppenden. So we arrived here with 4% state to charge and actually charged until the car said we were going to arrive here with 1%. And then when we left, the car said we were going to arrive with 0, and then it crept up to 1 and then to 2. And then when we arrived here, it still said 2, but we arrived here with 4. And that has kind of been the theme today with the route planner with this car, where we arrived with more charge than the car said we were going to arrive with. Even though we actually arrived here, the navigation system still said we would be here with less charge, which is a little bit weird. But there's still calibration issues to be done with this car, calibrating the car towards the infotainment system, towards the route planner, and the route planner towards this road with this car. But I'm pretty sure, like with every other new electric car, that once these cars have been on the market a while, this just gets more and more accurate. Like with the Polestar 4 I drove last week, that was also way off, but in the opposite direction. And I pretty much prefer that the car says we are going to ride with less, but we arrive with more instead of the opposite. That was the issue with the Polestar 4 I tested last fall, but the one I tested last week was like super accurate, and it seemed like it got a little bit more and more accurate throughout the day. But when we left here, the car said we would arrive at our turnaround point with 24%, and we actually arrived there with 40. That is a massive difference. So before I reveal the results, our average consumption today was 18.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So with the Audi S6 E-Tron Avant, we charged to 35%, and that took 7 minutes. But we arrived here with 4% stated charge, so we have to correct for that. Correcting for charging to 31% stated charge, meaning arriving here with 0%, that's how we correct these, so all cars can be compared more accurately. That means a total charging time of 6 minutes, which is pretty awesome. It's not a new record. We weren't able to beat the Porsche Taycan 4S sedan I tested last fall. That car managed this route with a total charging time of only 5 minutes, but coming a minute within that in a car that is a lot cheaper, a car that is a station wagon and also done under a little bit colder conditions. I think that is darn impressive. Yeah, I think that is actually pretty good. And any car that manages this trip with a shorter charging time than 10 minutes, I think is good enough. Because as I showed you in this video, I actually don't have time to do anything at these charging stops. Like 6 minutes, I don't have time to go to the toilet even. I have to go to the toilet, buy drinks, and eat food off camera when we're not actually doing any measurements, which is pretty insane. So 6 minutes for this car ensures that this is going to be a pretty insane road trip machine for long trips. So guys, let me know what you think of the results of the Audi A6 E-Tron Avant. Are you impressed or aren't you impressed? I'm pretty impressed, to be honest. This is pretty good. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.